My cheating wife begged for forgiveness, but she will face the consequences she deserves. Hey everyone, it's Red here. Just 2 weeks ago, everything changed in my life. I came home expecting just another ordinary evening, but instead I found my wife, Sarah, sitting on the couch. She was smoking, something she never does, and staring blankly at the floor. Something felt off, and my gut was screaming at me, but I tried to ignore it. She told me we needed to talk. You know that phrase we all dread? Well, I never expected it would lead to the emotional wrecking ball that followed. Sarah didn't beat around the bush. With guilt in her eyes, she looked at me and said, "You're free to hate me, but I need you to know I love you. I've only ever loved you." My mind raced. What could she have done? Did she lose something valuable? Scratch the car. I was completely unprepared for what came next. I had an affair. Her words hit me like a sledgehammer. I was left speechless, utterly stunned. How could she, the woman I respected for her unshakable morals, betray me like this? Sarah was always the one who said the world is a terrible place, but that's no excuse to be terrible yourself. Yet, here she was, admitting to doing just that. The affair lasted a month, back in November, and ended in December. But she'd been carrying the guilt ever since. She could have buried it, and we could have gone on as if nothing happened, but she just couldn't live with herself anymore. She even showed me that she had blocked the guy on everything and shared old chats where she spoke about me in nothing but positive terms. But what did that matter? She still did it. At first, I didn't even know how to process it. I thought maybe we could fix this if she was genuinely remorseful, but then the weight of her betrayal began to sink in. I wasn't angry in that explosive movie way. It was more like a quiet storm brewing inside me. I told her that one of us had to leave for a while, and she went to stay at her sister's place. Now I'm alone in this big, cold apartment, and the bed feels massive without her next to me. Meanwhile, she's apparently a wreck. Her sister told me Sarah spends all day in bed, barely eating. We text occasionally, but I haven't seen her since she left. She keeps saying she'll accept whatever decision I make, whether it's fighting for our marriage or walking away for good. I've been stuck in this emotional limbo, drowning in sadness. How did I lose my wife and best friend like this? The only anger I really feel is that if she had just kept her mouth shut, we wouldn't be in this mess at all. But life doesn't work like that, does it? 3 weeks after her confession, we agreed to meet. I told her to write a detailed handwritten account of her affair, everything. I wanted to know exactly what she was willing to do to make things right and see how far she'd go. Her sister, Kiara, offered her place as neutral ground and stayed in the next room in case things got heated. When Sarah walked in, my heart sank. She looked like she'd been through hell, pale with red eyes from crying, but she had obviously tried to pull herself together. She even managed to compliment me, saying I looked good. I didn't know how to respond. She asked for a hug and I gave it to her, but it felt more like hugging a stranger. Then we got down to business. First up was the letter, 9 handwritten pages detailing everything. It was brutal. She didn't sugarcoat anything, how it started, what they did, how she thought she could come back to me after being with him. Some parts were cold and clinical, while others were filled with guilt and introspection. I was seeing a side of Sarah I didn't even know existed. She confessed that while she knew she was hurting me, she enjoyed herself too much in the moment to care. That hurt the most. Next came her proposals for how to rebuild trust, constant accountability, providing proof of her whereabouts, waiting for me outside of work, never giving me a reason to doubt her again. Her suggestions were concrete, and she said she'd accept any further conditions I set without question. I told her that if we were to continue, she'd be on a short leash for a long time, and every shred of trust would have to be earned. She agreed, no hesitation. I also told her I was still going to see a lawyer and draft divorce papers just in case. When I said that, her face crumpled, but she didn't cry. She just nodded and said, "I understand." I laid out the rest. She'd have to go to therapy on her own dime. We'd remain separated for now, and if her sister couldn't house her, she'd need to find her own place. She agreed. Then she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You don't deserve any of this. You deserve someone who won't betray you, someone who makes you as happy as you make them." I agreed. Before my emotions took over, I ended the conversation. We hugged again, more out of habit than desire, and she whispered, Whatever happens, I will always love you. I'm so sorry for what I did to us. On the way out, I had a brief chat with her sister, Kiara. She overheard most of the conversation and told me she found my terms fair. Then she said something that stuck with me. She agreed that I didn't deserve this, and there are plenty of women out there who would love me right. She admitted that this version of Sarah wasn't the big sister she once admired. She loved her, but didn't respect her anymore. Kiara warned that if I let Sarah walk all over me, and if I didn't hold her accountable, she wouldn't respect me either. That hit hard. Kiara made it clear that if I allowed Sarah's remorse to be hollow, she'd lose respect for me too. Now I'm left wondering, is it worth saving what's left? Or should I just let it go? Please like, share the video and subscribe the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon.